Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we're going to take a deep dive into the Warcry Warband, the Iron Golem. During the recent teaser for Warcry Red Harvest at Gen Con, the Iron Golem got a mention, so I thought this would be a great time to do a deep dive video taking a look at this awesome warband. So in this video we're going to go through all the different fighter types available for the Iron Golem. We'll look at the individual fighter cards and go through all their stats and weapon options, and then we'll take a look at the abilities for each fighter within the warband. I'm going to be using the fighter cards and ability card that came with the warband set, but you can also get this information from the Warcry supplement book, The Agents of Chaos, where you can find 2 pages dedicated to the Iron Golem, telling you all about the abilities, the different fighter types, and also a little bit about the lore as well. So let's have a close-up of the different models, and here they are all lined up, and these were great fun to paint. I used mostly contrast paints for these, and I did some techniques where I used a lead belcher base for all the metalwork and then used different coloured contrast paints over the top to give this real sketchy look to it, and I was really happy how they turned out. And if you'd like to see how I did it, I've got a video for the Ogre Breacher up on the channel already, and also another video for how I did the bases for the Iron Golem. Some nice simple rocky bases, really easy to do. Before we get started looking at the individual fighters, let's have a little look at the lore and a bit of background behind the Iron Golem and see how they fit in with the world of Warcry. The Iron Golems are master weaponsmiths who believe themselves destined to forge tools of destruction for Archaon's own legion. Those who face them must stand before peerless forgecraft and ironclad discipline alike. Their disciplined ranks march in search of conquest, each warrior proven in the testing crucible of war. To the Iron Golems, the flames of their furnaces are the true face of chaos, and these are stoked with the bodies of crushed enemies, an offering to the gods in steel and fire. The greatest secret of the Golems lies beneath the Ferium Mountains. Here is the prison of Axranathos, a monstrous sun dragon enslaved by the Iron Legion. The magma channels spewed by this beast are used to forge prized tools of war. Axranathos has broken free on several occasions, but like all enemies of the Golems, the dragon has been corralled by the redoubtable Iron Legionaries, assailed by storms of hurled bowlers and battered into submission by the uncompromising Drillmasters, champion Prefectors and veteran Dominar captains that command the Iron Golems. It is said that Mithraxes, the current High Overlord of the Iron Golems, plots to send an expedition into the industrialised region of Angazkul Grend that lies towards the foot of the Varanspire. By conquering and fortifying this land, and by ensuring that more hellish armaments leave its great forges than ever before, he believes that his place at Archaon's side will be assured. His champions lead their warbands to fight across the Bloodwind spoil with redoubled fervour, each striving to prove worthy of leading this great campaign. That's a brief introduction to the warband, but now let's get started going through all those fighter cards and abilities, starting with the leader of the warband, the Dominar. And here's our Dominar with the fighter card, and you can see he's coming in at 175 points. He's got the leader rune mark and 1 other rune mark. He's got a movement of 4, he's got a toughness of 4, and can take 20 wounds. He's got 1 weapon, which is this huge hammer, and it's got a range of 1. He can make 3 attacks, strength 5, dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. So for 175 points, we're getting those 20 wounds. I'd like to see more attacks coming in from this guy. Only 3 attacks, but I guess the hammer's pretty heavy, so he's not going to be swinging it around too crazy. But having that strength 5 is huge, so he's certainly going to be able to do some damage. But let's take a look at his leader ability and 1 other ability that he's got. And here we can see that the leader ability is a double, and this is called Lead with Strength. And a fighter can use this ability only if an enemy fighter has been taken down by an attack action made by them this activation. This fighter makes a bonus move or a bonus attack action. So this one has to take down an enemy fighter during this turn to be able to use this ability. But if he does get that extra bonus attack or bonus move. So really nice for a double, not bad at all. He's also got access to an ability that's unique to him because he's got the Brute rune mark, and this is another double called Spine Crushing Blow. With this, add the value of this ability to the strength characteristic of the next attack action made by this fighter, this activation that has a range characteristic of 3 or less. So with the strength characteristic of 5 already, being able to add another one to that is going to make sure he can go up against some real tough customers and deal a huge amount of damage. So not bad for a double, but he does have access to one other double ability as well, and that's because he's got the Iron Golem rune mark for the faction rune mark, and this is the ability right at the top of the card. And again, it's another double called Throw Bolas, and any fighter in the Iron Golem Warband, as long as they've got that faction rune mark, they can use this ability. So I'll read it here for the leader, and then we can apply this to every other fighter in the Warband who's got that faction rune mark as well. And I won't read it for each time. Anyway, so here we go. So this is the Throw Bolas, a double, and for this we pick a visible enemy fighter within 6 inches of this fighter and roll 2 dice. For each roll of 4 to 5, allocate 1 damage point to that fighter. For each roll of 6, allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of this ability. So for a double, just a nice way just to get a few extra damage points like snuck off our enemies. And yeah, it's not a hugely powerful one, but it can certainly be annoying. You just snip away at the enemy, taking a few damage points. And if you get that 6 and you've got a high double, then it could actually deal some serious damage too. So that's going to apply to every fighter that we go through in this warband. Next, we've got our Ogre Breacher. I love this model. I think it's a great fighter to have in a warband. It looks awesome with these crazy weapons on his arms here. And you can see he's coming in at 235 points, so certainly not cheap for this guy. He's got 1 rune mark, and that's the Berserker rune mark. So he's going to get an ability that's unique to him. He's got a movement of 4, not bad for this big guy. Toughness 5, can take 30 wounds, so he's certainly going to be absorbing some hits. He's got a weapon range of 1. Now he can only make 2 attacks, but the strength is huge. Strength 6, and if he damages, it's 4 on a regular hit and 8 on a critical hit. So this guy's going to put out some punishment. With only 2 attacks though, it's not a huge amount, but that strength 6 dealing that much damage is pretty impressive. But let's take a look at his ability, and I called it a Berserker rune mark earlier. I got that wrong. It's actually a Destroyer rune mark. So with that Destroyer rune mark, he's going to get access to a triple ability called Living Battering Ram. Great name for this guy. And until the end of this fighter's activation, the next time this fighter finishes a move action within 1 inch of an enemy fighter, pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter. Then allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of this ability. So if you're getting 666s, 555s here, you're just going to deal some damage instantly, no messing around, and a pretty good triple. I think it fits in with this guy for sure, and I really like the Ogre Breacher. I think he's awesome. And if you could have 2 of these in the warband, it would be even better, but you do only get 1 in that pack that you buy. But not to say you couldn't buy 2 packs. Anyway, so there we go. So that's his triple ability for the Destroyer rune mark, but he's also got that double Throw Bolas if you want to use it as well, because he does have the Iron Golem faction rune mark. Next, we've got the Signifier, and there's 2 ways you can build this model. I'm going to go through both of them, but let's do the Signifier first. And he's coming in at 120 points, movement 4, toughness 4, can take 15 wounds. He's got 1 rune mark, which is the Icon Bearer rune mark, so he's going to get an ability. His weapon is a range of 1, so he's using his hammer here. He can make 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So for 120 points, he looks like he would do a lot more than this, just looking at the model itself and the size and bulk of it all. But still not too bad. 15 wounds is okay. 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4. I guess we could expect that for around 120 points. But let's have a look at the ability that he gets with this Icon Bearer rune mark. And this is a triple called Stand Defiant. Until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the toughness characteristic of friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. So this is really good. They're already pretty tough, 4s and 5s across the board for the whole warband. So being able to add 1 to that toughness characteristic is really helpful and can certainly make these guys pretty tough to take on close combat. Here's our second build option for this model, and here we can have him as a Prefector, and it's 125 points, got a movement 4, toughness 4, 15 wounds, exactly the same. The ability's different though here, so he's going to have the Brute rune mark, and we've already seen this ability with our leader earlier on. With the weapon, it's a range of 1, 3 attacks, strength 4, and it's dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. So for this one, you're going up in 5 points, and you're dealing a little bit more damage. So from the previous model build we just saw with the Signifier, that was 120 points, sorry. This one's 125, and the only difference really is the ability, and it does 5 on a crit instead of 4. And so that ability, that double spine crushing blow, he can use that because he's got the Brute rune mark. And he can also use the throw bolas, another double that all the members of the warband can use. Next up, we've got another great fighter, the Drillmaster. Pretty fragile, that chain, so just be careful with that. But otherwise, a great looking model. 125 points again. This one's a bit faster, so we've got a movement of 5. Toughness 4, can take 15 wounds. We've got 1 rune mark, so we're going to get an ability we haven't seen yet. And this time it really is the Berserker rune mark. We've got 2 weapon options. The first one's up close with a club, and this is going to be a range of 1, 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. But if you want to use that ranged weapon option, then you've got these bolas, iron bolas, with a range of 3, making 4 attacks, strength 4, but only dealing 1 to 2 on a crit. So 2 decent weapon options there, to be fair. Having 4 attacks is always nice. Strength 4 isn't too bad at all. And then if you use that club, you're going to do 2 to 4 damage. So I think all around making this a pretty decent model for 125 points. So happy with that. But the amount of damage you deal with those iron bolas is pretty low. So I think if you want to take advantage of the range, you're certainly not going to dish as much damage. But let's take a look at this Berserker ability then. And this one is a quad this time called Whirlwind of Death. And here we allocate a number of damage points to all visible enemy fighters within 3 inches of this fighter, equal to the value of this ability. So I really like these kind of quads, and if you're getting 5s or 6s here and you can get in amongst a good number of the enemy, you're going to deal a huge amount of damage. I mean, if this is a 6 and you get within 4 members of the enemy warband, you're just going to take down a load of them potentially. So I really like that quad, and they can also use the double throw bolas if they want to. Next, we've got the Iron Legionary with bolas, and this guy is very cheap at 65 points. He's got a movement 4, toughness 4, can take 10 wounds, so that's not bad right off the bat for a 65 point model. He can make 3 attacks from a range of 3 with the bolas. The strength is 3, and he's only doing 1 to 2 damage though. But he's got a second weapon option, which is this hammer, and this is a range of 1, 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. So for 65 points, I think the movements, toughness, and wounds you can take is about fair. That first weapon, the bolas, the range is good, only dealing 1 to 2 though. But I think if you wanted to have that range in your warband, this would be the way to go. For 65 points, it's so cheap. But if he does get up close, he might do a little bit of damage too. And if you notice, he's not got any abilities except for that double throw bolas, because he's only got the 1 rune mark, and that's the faction rune mark. Next up, we've got the Iron Legionary, and these are coming in at 80 points. They've got a movement 4, toughness 5, can take 10 wounds. That club weapon is a range of 1, making 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. And you can see here that I've built 2 models to represent the Iron Legionary, but they've got some other options which we'll go through in a second. But I really like the ability at 80 points here to have those toughness 5 fighters who you can use as like a wall to absorb some of the punishment from the enemy, make them almost waste their turn on these chaff units, so your bigger guys like the Ogre Breacher can steam around and take them out with those huge powerful hits. So yeah, I really like these. There is another option. Abilities, they're not going to get any because they've only got the Iron Golem faction rune mark, so they can only use that double, which is the throw bolas. And here's the other build option. If you use this model, you can make an Iron Legionary with twin hammers. And this one is 70 points, so a little bit less. You've got movement 4, toughness 4, so not as tough because they don't have the shield. Still taking 10 wounds. And with these hammers, it's a weapon range of 1, 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. So only 3 attacks. I would have expected more with the twin hammers, and these aren't big weapons, they're not heavy, so you could have got maybe 4 out of this and put the points up a little bit. But I think here having 3 attack, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 isn't going to do a huge amount. This is certainly one of those chaff units, but I'd rather pay that extra 10 points and get them with the shields. No extra rune marks, so no extra abilities. We're just looking at the double throw bolas. And now we're on to our final fighter, which is a real great model, and this is one of the best ones. This dwarf who's called the Armature, and this is a great model. 90 points, movement 3 with those short legs, is not going to cover the ground as fast. Toughness 4, but can take 12 wounds, so that's nice. We've got a weapon range of 1 with those double hammers. Can make 4 attacks, that's more like it. Strength 4, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So I think for 90 points, this model's just awesome. It's got to be included in the warband for sure. 4 attacks is great. Strength 4's not bad, and dealing 1 to 4 on a crit I think is pretty good. Movement is pretty slow though, so you certainly want to help to pick that up, maybe by using a universal ability, that double rush ability, to get some other movement. But otherwise, a great looking model. Abilities though, no abilities for this. I would have liked to have some kind of ability thrown in there, an extra one, but he can only use the double throw bolas. So with some of the more updated warbands, you do get a lot of abilities, and so sometimes though I think it's good to have less, and with Iron Golem having less abilities, you do make use of these universal ones for sure, and certainly with the Armature you want to be using that double rush. Onslaught with all of them with their huge attacks, you want to get that onslaught so you get more attack dice to roll, and then the quad rampage is helpful to get that bonus move action and then bonus attack action on top of it. So I think you really do make use of these universal abilities with these original warbands for sure. So that brings us to the end of our deep dive for the Iron Golem, and I'd love to hear what you think about this warband. Do you play them? Do they look good to you? And what's your favourite ability to use them? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback, so join in the comments below. That'd be awesome. And you can still buy this set as well. So I'll put a link in the description below to Element Games where you can save up to 20%. At the moment it's 15%, so the RRP is £30, but you can get them for £25.50. And if you enter my referral code, which is Lee7781, you'll also get double element crystals, which convert to money off on your next purchase, and I get some too, which is awesome. So it's a win-win all round. And also just to point out, that Element Games link I'll put below is an affiliate link, but you'll also be supporting the channel if you choose to use it, and I really appreciate that, so thanks so much. If you'd like to support the channel in another way, then I'll put a link to Patreon in the description below, and if you go and check out that page you can see all the perks you get and join the Discord page, and it's a really great community and I'd love for you to join it. I've really got some cool stuff planned for next month, which is October 2020, for the Patreon page. Really keen to grow it and grow the channel, and so I can't wait to tell you about that really soon. But for now, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope this gave you a good idea about what the Iron Golem are all about. If you've got any questions, add it below. I'd love to answer it if I can. But thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. If you like this kind of content and would like to support the channel, then please check out my Patreon page, and thanks to everyone who's joined so far. It's really awesome. We hang out on Discord, talk about the hobby, share ideas and help each other out, and you'll get some perks there that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I'll put a link in the description, and it'd be great to see you there.